I'm goddamn sick of it. This is the worst time ever to be a celebrity. You're gonna be finished. Everyone's doomed. Michael Jackson has been dead for 10 years, and this nigga has 2 new cases. And if you haven't watched that documentary, then I'm begging you, don't watch it. It's fucking gross. I felt like HBO was sticking baby dicks in my ears for 4 hours straight. Really nasty shit. I don't want to know all these things. Turns out, Michael Jackson allegedly likes a long gander at the anus. So they said he stares at people's buttholes. That's what they said. That's how gross the documentary was. I'm gonna say something that I'm not allowed to say. But I gotta be real. I don't believe these motherfuckers. I do not believe it. But let me qualify the statement. I am what's known on the streets as a victim blamer. You know what I mean? If somebody come up to me like, Dave, Chris Brown just beat up Rihanna. I'll be like, well, what did she do? Dave, Michael Jackson was molesting children. Well, what were those kids wearing at the time? I don't think he did it. But you know what? Even if he did do it, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I mean, it's Michael Jackson. I know more than half the people in this room have been molested in their lives. But it wasn't no goddamn Michael Jackson, was it? This kid got his dick sucked by the king of pop. All we get is awkward Thanksgivings for the rest of our lives. You know how good it must have felt to go to school the next day after that shit? Hey, Billy, how was the weekend? How was my weekend? Michael Jackson sucks my dick. And that was my first sexual experience. If I'm starting here, then sky's the limit. I know it seems harsh, but man, somebody's got to teach these kids. There's no such thing as a free trip to Hawaii. Yeah, he's gonna want to look at your butthole or something. You know why I don't believe it? You know why I don't believe it? Because if Michael Jackson's out here doing all this molesting, then why not Macaulay Culkin? Macaulay Culkin said in an interview that Michael Jackson never did anything inappropriate with him or even around him. Think about that shit. You know, I'm not a pedophile. But if I was, Macaulay Culkin's the first kid I'm fucking, I'll tell you that right now. I'd be a goddamn hero. Hey, that guy over there fucked the kid from Home Alone. And you know how hard he is to catch. That's what I'm waiting for, because the timing of this Michael Jackson shit is what makes me doubt it. Every time there's wars going out of control, or the economy gets bad, or something is wrong with the world at large, it's always these moments in history that Michael Jackson will coincidentally jerk off a kid. This is getting ridiculous. Like, are you planning this shit? Do you have meetings?
Michael, thank you for coming. As you know, Michael, the war has not been going as well as we expected. There's been a lot of hiccups, and the public is asking us a lot of questions, of course. And, well, Michael, there's no nice way to say this, and all I know how to do is be direct, so let me just be direct. We're going to need you to jerk off another child, Mike. I'm sorry. I am sorry. But it would really help out.
Or maybe he did it. Who knows? Who knows? That's the thing. That's what I wanted to say. Who knows? Who the fuck knows? Mike, God, and this little boy know. That's about it. That's about it. The only reason that I can even talk about this shit is because everybody is speculating. They all think he did it. And I don't think he did it. I'm alone in this. I don't think he did it. I'm not going to say I don't think he did it. That's too strong. Let me just say I am reserving judgment until all the facts come out. But so far from what I heard, I mean, the kid said he was dying of cancer. He was in Make-A-Wish Foundation. He claims he had 2 weeks to live, and it was his dying wish to meet Michael Jackson. Come on, man, give me a fucking break. This kid is 10 years old. He don't remember Thriller. The fuck you want to meet Michael Jackson for, honestly? I remember Thriller, and I just, like, kind of want to meet this nigga. Like, I wouldn't break an appointment to meet him. I'll put it that way. I'd have to already be free. That's ridiculous. It's like if I'm dying in 2 weeks and go, oh, mama, get me in a room with Chubby Chuckle. I wouldn't want to meet that motherfucker. My last 2 weeks. Why not Usher or somebody like this? So then the kid claims he goes to Michael's house. This is where it all gets crazy. He does everything you'd expect at Michael's house. They climbed trees and rode roller coasters and Ferris wheels. The chef made cookies, pies, and cakes. They was petting the monkey and the giraffe. Sang songs, kid shit. And in the middle of all this childlike activity, for some reason, Mike pulled out some wine and some pills and sucked this kid's dick. Folks, it hurts me to say it. And the kid had the nerve to call that abuse. Motherfucker, that is a good host. God damn, what else do you want? What else do you want? I'm lucky to get a glass of grape drink at my friend's house. Let alone a roller coaster ride and my dick sucked. Mike must be confused, like I brought you in my house, I fed you, I sucked your dick, and this is how you repay me, motherfucker? This was your wish, not mine. Thought you were dying in 2 weeks. What happened to that, motherfucker? I've been in court for a year and a half. You get stronger every time I see you. This is fucked up. I shouldn't even say this fuck. Wouldn't it be some ironic shit if they found out through this case that the cure for cancer was Michael Jackson sucking your dick somehow? Like if Mike had powers like Green Mile and all the kids like, please, Mike, suck our dicks. Never again. He didn't appreciate it.
Can we at least study your saliva? Please, Mike.
It just doesn't stop, though. It just doesn't stop. And the only reason I can talk about Mike is because he's a freak. He is a freak. That's why people let you talk about him. Because if I brought up Catholic priest fucking kids, it'd get quiet as shit. But when Michael Jackson does it, it's okay because he's a freak. His face is all cut up. But just remember, when you look at that thing that he calls his face, that he did that for you somehow. Somehow he thought you might, maybe it'll help. Maybe people will like me more if I turn myself into a white, ghoulish-like creature. I don't know what the fuck it is, but he did it for you. And I appreciate the gesture, Michael Jackson. If you're watching this, I appreciate that gesture, and I want you to know, fuck everybody, Dave Chappelle understands. Because you want to know something? I'm getting some work done. Surprise, yes. Nothing major. You would never know if I didn't tell you, but it's some shit I'm insecure about that I want to work on. If you must know, I'm getting Botox done on my balls to get these wrinkles out. Finally, I'll have these shit smooth as eggs. No, I can't wait. I cannot wait. And I'm not stopping there. That's just phase one, baby. I'll be like Bob Vila, these old balls. I'm fixing them up. I'm plucking all the hair out. I gotta make room. I know this. I gotta make room. I'm gonna tattoo a gangster ass face on them. Mean expressions like this. And then I'll grow the hair back on the bottom so they got beards like me. And then I'm hitting that beach and looking for ball suckers. I'm gonna wear some high shorts just like this. And walk up to women with a confidence I've never had before. Pardon me, miss. I don't mean to be rude. But do you suck balls? Excuse me? Miss, relax. You didn't even let me finish. Do you suck these balls? Oh my God, those balls are as smooth as eggs. Yes, I'll suck them. I've played this scenario out in my mind a million times, lady. That's how it always ends. Yes, I'll suck those balls.
Sad, I know, man. But we've already been through it. Like Michael Jackson. Remember when they said all that shit about Michael Jackson? They never proved anything till his dying day. But they said that he did some very heinous things. And one time I watched a documentary about it. They were talking about all the shit Michael Jackson allegedly did. And as they were saying all these allegations, they started showing pictures of his home, the Neverland Ranch. You ever seen Michael Jackson's house on television? Well, the short of it is, and I saw the whole thing. Exotic animals and Ferris wheels and merry-go-rounds and shit. And the more they showed it, the more certain I was that I don't think Michael Jackson did any of those things they said he did. His house didn't look sexual. It looked like he was flossing on those motherfuckers. It didn't look like he was trying to fuck kids. It looked like he's just trying to impress them. Like, this nigga's Jay-Z for kids. Like, he's just walking through his house. This is my cotton candy machine. It makes 3 tons of cotton candy a day. You know, all the cotton candy you want. This closet is filled with nothing but custom-made karate slippers. Isn't that cool? Shall I have my monkey bring us more cupcakes? Hey guys, let's watch a movie. What movie do you want to see? Home Alone. Oh, no, don't touch the DVD player. Macaulay Culkin's here, he can act it out. Come on, Macaulay. Act out Home Alone for my guests. Hey, mister. Get that R. Kelly peed on a 15-year-old girl. And he also wrote, I Believe I Can Fly. Same guy, same lifetime. If I showed you that video of him peeing on that girl and scored it to I Believe I Can Fly, he'd be torn. I used to think that I could not go on if I can see it. It's okay, my career ended many years ago. Order. No, I'm terrible. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry. You want to know what happened to me? Yeah. Nah. It's tempting, but I don't want to talk about it. Maybe at the end, when I run out of things to talk about. Actually, I'm almost there. I'm just trying to tell you what happened to me was not, I just didn't have a good go of it. I don't know what you guys think happens when you quit a successful show like this. I'll tell you what doesn't happen. They don't go, hey, well, good luck with your future endeavors. That's not what happens. It was cold out there. For real, I had to watch it all go down without me. I had to watch all those people do my show, Key and Peele and Amy Schumer and Mind and Mencia. Well, I'm not going to say they were doing my show. I'm just saying they had.
30 years in this industry.
Yeah, man, you know, it's funny. So my youngest son is 14 now. That's how old I was when I started. You know, I'm 44 now, I look at him, and I think all the things that were going on around me at that time and what it was like starting, and now I can't imagine that that's what happened, but at the time it felt very natural, and it felt very safe, even though it was not. You know, I mean, but I'm just grateful, man, like, to be able to do something like this for 30 years, I gotta be one of the luckiest people alive, man. Like, I don't know that I've ever really had any other job.
Martin Lawrence was in that chair. We talked about Blue Streak.
I love that dude.
He played a role in your life, I believe. How do you feel about him as a person, as an artist?
Martin Lawrence is the guy that showed everybody you can make it from D.C. to Hollywood. And I had a personal stake in his success. Every time he did something, it made me feel inspired and really good. And he was always real nice to me. He'd sit me down, "What's going on with you, baby boy? What? We'd talk about comedy, whatever." And, you know, when we did Blue Streak, we were promoting it, and Martin had a stroke. He almost died. And then after that, I saw him, and I was like, "Oh, my God, Martin, are you okay?" And he said, "I got the best sleep I ever got in my life." That's how tough he is. So let me ask you this. What is happening in Hollywood that a guy that tough will be on the street waving a gun, screaming, "They are trying to kill me"?
Yeah.
What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take her clothes off on TRL? A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you. So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bullshit. These people are not crazy. They're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick. You know, in the past, I used to always tell a lot of jokes about white people. And I know there's a lot of white people here with us tonight. Good evening, whites. Everybody knows what it's like to be embarrassed or to be feel marginalized. The implication is authority. Nobody likes authority figures. When I say jokes about white people, don't think for a second that I'm talking about you. Don't forget, I almost had $50 million once. When you make enough money in America, they'll pull back the curtain and introduce you to the real white people. You guys just think you're white.
Dave Chappelle is very intelligent. He's well raised. That goes without saying. A person who is well raised knows to respect the elders. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with anything, even a little bit of what the elder says, but you respect the elder for surviving.
It's so much bigger than money, though, Dave. It's so much bigger than money.
Oh, no, it was bigger than money. But you know what? I watched one of these nature shows one time, and they were talking about how a bushman finds water when it's scarce. And they do what's called a salt trap. I didn't know this. Apparently baboons love salt.
Okay.
So they put a lump of salt in a hole, and they wait for the baboon. The baboon comes, sticks his hand in the hole, grabs the salt makes his hand bigger, and he's trapped. He can't get his hand out. Now, if he's smart, all he does is let go of the salt. Baboon doesn't want to let go of the salt. Then the bushman just comes, takes the baboon, throws him in the cage, and gives him all the salt he wants. And then the baboon gets thirsty. The bushman lets him out the cage. The first place the baboon runs to is water. Bushman follows him, and they both drink to their fill. And in that analogy, I felt like the baboon. But I was smart enough to let go of the salt.
Well, veteran of comedy, people look to you to kind of clear the fog that we as Americans go through. I know you take that seriously, but is that a big burden on you, that people look to you for clarity, they look for you for truth?
I think that it's a symptom of just how maybe bankrupt our society is right now, that we're looking to our entertainers for this type of guidance. But when things are obscure, artists do try to tell the truth. Sometimes it's not that they're looking for the truth. Sometimes they just want to hear their truth come out of somebody else. Like, why don't, you know what I mean? So I don't look at it as a burden, or I don't even look at it as a responsibility. I just think it's the nature of the genre. And I think that one of the things that's special about our genre in this day and age is that it's very engaging. It's very personal. And I think in this cyberspace world that people need an entertainer that looks them in the eyes and says the things that they feel.
For all the things that I've done, I'm most renowned for what I didn't do. I've made decisions in my career that a lot of people have called insane. 2004, had a $50 million deal on the table, and in a crisis of conscience, flipped the table over and walked away. Went to South Africa. Everyone said I was running away from the money. That is not true. In fact, I still want that money. The idea that I wanted to just share with you guys is the idea that sometimes you do what you think is best, whether anybody understands it or not. I heard a story about my father where someone told me he used to do statistics for a company in D.C. The company he did statistics for started doing business with the South African government, so he quit his job. It's caused a lot of problems between him and his wife. It's hard for a man when he can't provide for his family the way he wants to, and he suffered through it. And a generation later, when I had my crisis of conscience, I was able to go to a free South Africa and get away from the heat. This idea that what you do in your lifetime informs the generations that comes after you is something I keep thinking about, something that is so much bigger than just ourselves. I just want you guys to remember, you know, that right now there's this thing where ethics aren't what they used to be. This idea that people are trying to replace the ideas of good and bad with better or worse. And that is incorrect. You gotta keep your ethics intact, because good and bad is a compass that helps you find the way. And a person that only does what's better or worse is the easiest type of person to control. They are a mouse in a maze that just finds the cheese. But the one who knows about good and bad will realize that he's in a maze.
This is my last question for you. You don't do many sit-down TV interviews. Why is that?
Because so much of an answer depends on how you feel any given day, but it lives forever. That your opinions about things can change, your view of yourself can change, and yet this is on a permanent record. Like Donald Trump, he complains about it because someone can look at him and say, well, you said in 1984 that this, that, or the other, and that's the cross you have to bear when you engage the press. And more important than that, I talk for a living, so I don't want to blather about me blathering. You know what I mean? I'd rather just do it.
Leave it to Dave Chappelle to spotlight the hypocrisy of Trump supporters who stormed the Capitol. In a new stand-up routine, Chappelle points out that many of the Trump supporters who took part in the insurrection on January 6th are the very same people who criticized former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick for taking a knee during the national anthem as he silently and nonviolently protested the treatment of Black Americans by police officers. My colleague Don Lemon joins me now to talk about this. You know, I just wonder, obviously we see a double standard that is played out here. I just wonder how you've been struck by what Dave Chappelle said, Don.
Hi, Brianna. I agree with Dave Chappelle, and then I actually don't agree with him in a sense, but mostly I do. Here's why. Because he said in the stand-up routine that they got the N-word treatment, right? I don't think that they did, because they weren't lynched. They were able to leave Washington, D.C. and go back to their prospective places of where they lived, and got to turn themselves in if they even decided to, whenever they wanted. And they got to live where they wanted. They didn't get redlined. They got to get loans if they want. So I understand what he is saying. So yes, overall, I do agree with him. But for 30 minutes, they, tried to storm the Capitol, and police beat them back. What they got was the consequences of breaking and entering. But his whole point about the flag and Colin Kaepernick is spot on, because they used, as we have been pointing out, the American flag and Blue Lives Matter flags and flag poles and Confederate battle flags to beat police officers, to try to kill police officers. So, that's where we are right now. So in a sense, his overall point, I get it. But they didn't really get the treatment that African Americans have had in this country.
And that's a point a lot of people have made, right? What would have happened if you were to have a role reversal here? What would have happened? What would the ramifications have been? Would the carnage have been so much greater? I think it's a very reasonable question that a lot of people have asked. I'm also curious what you think about something that Republican Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin has said, because he has this very bizarre new take on the Capitol riots. He doesn't think that it was an armed insurrection. So let's listen to that.
This didn't seem as like an armed insurrection to me. I mean, armed, when you think here of armed, don't you think of firearms? Mm-hmm. Here's questions I would have liked to ask. How many firearms were confiscated? How many shots were fired? I'm only aware of one, and I'll defend that law enforcement officer for taking that shot. It was a tragedy, okay? But I think there was only one. Mm-hmm. If that was a planned armed insurrection, man, you're really a bunch of idiots.
We did this whole analysis of that, Don, last hour, where we looked at all the weapons that were seized. We looked at, obviously you mentioned that people just walked out of the Capitol. They weren't even searched for weapons. There were many weapons. Clearly, this was a deadly insurrection. What do you make of someone defending this is not a big deal?
The hoops that people will jump through for, first of all, their political ideology, second of all, their way of life, and to continue white supremacy. That's what that is. Because if you look at the definition of armed, right? If you look at the definition of armed, it says furnished with weapons. We know they had weapons. We know they had tear gas. We're not sure of all the weapons they had because they were allowed to go. And you bring up a very good point that I neglected to bring up. If this was black people storming the Capitol, mostly men, they would have been shot. I think everyone agrees with that. That it would have been much worse. Furnished with something that provides security, strength, or efficacy. That doesn't necessarily mean guns. It can mean guns, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. Those flag poles means being armed as well. I think he got the one part of it right, that it was, I think he said that they were idiots or something. They were a bunch of idiots, or they, if they didn't, because they didn't carry it off very well. That part he got right. But I think it shows, as does that attack on the Capitol, the lengths that people will go to protect white supremacy. And that's exactly what Ron Johnson is doing.
If you ask Senator Ron Johnson, I am sure he would not see what he's doing as, maintaining the power structure of white supremacy.
Well, just because you're ignorant of it doesn't mean that you.
Solomon, black man, election manager, Ambazonian with the vote. Election don't go. Yes, as we the vote, we go. For true, they say they will be Tino. Now there we go. By election to heaven, all my with the vote, many don't win the vote. For the sake of the gospel, brother, we go. soldiers. By the salvation of God, oh brother, now he don't give me the vote. I've been campaigning for so many years, under the rain and sun. Oh, sweat, brother. Finally, God don't give me the vote. Oh. My enemy, they will shake. I go to jubilate the city. Oh yes, oh yes. This praise is to God. It's by the salvation of God. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Now he don't give me the vote. Give praise to God, though. Look, he don't lost the vote, yeah. Say I don't win the vote. Yes. Now God don't give me the vote, oh brother. My enemies they will shake. Look, he don't lost the vote, yeah. Say I don't win the vote. Yes. Now God don't give me the vote, oh brother. My enemies they will shake. Look, he don't lost the vote, yeah. Say I don't win the vote. Yes. Now God don't give me the vote, oh brother. My enemies they will shake. Look, he don't lost the vote, yeah. Say I don't win the vote. Yes. Now God don't give me the vote, oh brother. My enemies they will shake. High five to the president of Ambazonia. Thank you, Lord. To the generals on the ground floor. High five to glorify all your faithfulness. From north to south, the Ambazonia population. I say high five. You have been the vote. I welcome you all, Ambazonia. God bless you.
Well, just because you're ignorant of it doesn't mean that you're not doing it. Just because you have done it for so long doesn't mean that you're not doing it. Just because you have been in a position where many Republicans who sat in on those impeachment hearings and said, I had never seen that much video. What does that mean? Video of the insurrection. What does that mean? That you have been in a position of privilege where you didn't have to. And so just because you're ignorant of something doesn't mean that it does not exist, and it doesn't mean that you aren't doing it. So that is exactly what Ron Johnson is doing it, and perhaps Ron Johnson and others who are like him, this isn't just about him, perhaps they should take a moment to reflect on their actions, and to reflect on, and to think about it before they say things like that. Because they can't continue to say things like that and to live in the world that they're living in, because there will be more insurrections. There will be more violence to come if they continue to do that. Because again, it's just ignorance. Ignorance does not mean that something does not exist and that you're not doing it.
And I'm sure that you've seen Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger, who voted to impeach, he voted to convict Donald Trump in his second impeachment trial for inciting the riot. He's now being shunned by his own family, and it's not just a matter of sort of a private division. It is a letter. I mean, it is something that they've wanted to do very publicly. This has been signed by 11 of his family members, and granted, this is a big family in Illinois. So these are, family members he might see at events here or there, right? But they're family members. And they wrote this: Adam, oh my, what a disappointment you are to us and God. We were once so proud of your accomplishments. Instead, you go against your Christian principles and join the devil's army, Democrats and fake news media. And I think, one of the reasons, Don, that this stands out so much to people is because there are families all across the country that have been divided like this. I mean, they have just been torn apart by what is true and what isn't true, and having different opinions of that.
There's so much there when it comes to that letter, Adam Kinzinger and Republicans and Trump supporters as a whole. Trump supporters have taken over the Republican Party. The Republican Party can no longer say that they don't agree with the insurrectionists, with the bigots, with the racists, with the white supremacists, with the anti-Semites, because that's what they have clearly shown through their actions, especially over the last 5 years. With him showing that letter, it's, first of all, they should probably figure out what Christianity really means. And I think that I would love to ask Adam Kinzinger that, but he has so far refused to come on the show and take questions. But I would like to ask him, where were he, and I'm glad that he's doing it, don't get me wrong, and I think we should take people where they are and then move forward. But I want to know where Republicans like Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney and all of the others, where they were when this stuff was festering in the Republican Party for years. Where people who even before them, when it was the welfare queens and the Willie Hortons and the Tea Party and the effigies of Barack Obama and the bones in his nose and the wasn't born in this country, the birtherism and all of that and all of the little things that led up to this moment, where were they? And I think that people need to really answer for those things, because we have to start at the beginning. We can't just start with what happened on January 6th, because that was what? A symptom, a culmination of something. We can't just start with what happened over the summer, because that was a symptom, a culmination of something. It's interesting, Brianna, not to just go too far off on a tangent, but I'm sure you've seen this thing that would happen with The Bachelor and with the host of The Bachelor saying, what the young lady did it was 2018 and we weren't looking at the world through that lens. Yes, we were. Racism has been around this country forever. It started at the inception of this country. And until we go back to the beginning and we start to deal with those things, then we will never address this problem properly. We will never correct this problem. And the one thing that I completely agree with Dave Chappelle on is that if you solve the black man's problem, you solve the problem of the black man, I mean just black people in general in this country, you will solve the bulk of the problems in this country. You will solve the racism problem, you will solve the poverty problem, you'll solve the discrimination problem, you'll solve the healthcare problem, you'll solve all of those things, because it will lift the veil on all the indignities that have been done to people throughout the...
Well, I have some very bad news for the people in the front rows. I heard that some of you paid as much as $800 for your tickets. Sadly, I did this same show a couple weeks ago in Atlanta for $60 a head. Can you imagine? Nigga, you could have flown to Atlanta, got a hotel, had some dinner, and came back, and you still have a little money left over, niggas. Paid way too much just to see me in this gay-ass neighborhood. All right, let me roll up my sleeves and tell these pussy jokes. Will told me to say there hasn't been this many pussy references in this room since Cats was here. Thank you guys very much. Boy, I gotta tell you, man, I've been doing this set all week, and boy, I've been telling these jokes, and sometimes niggas look like they're in actual pain over the jokes. None of it's that bad to me, but I understand why it could hurt some people's feelings. So tonight, I'm gonna give you an opportunity that I rarely give anybody. I'm gonna let you say whatever it is you need to say to my face, or ask me whatever it is you want to know. But there are no dumb questions allowed. If you ask a stupid question, you'll be asked to leave. Now I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Everyone relax. Come on. Oh, yes, sir, in the front.
2 questions. How often do you write? And can I have a cigarette?
All right. First, you may have a cigarette, but remember, this is not jail, motherfucker. This lady right here.
I have a question. Do you remember this scene?
Oh, I do remember that. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. That's a terrible question. This gentleman in the front with the salmon-colored shirt on.
I was wondering if you had any advice for young comedians that you generally give, and...
Are you thinking of doing comedy?
I've never done it before, but watching you has made me want to try it.
I don't know if that's an insult or not.
It's a compliment. It's.
I mean, niggas don't say I've never done brain surgery, but it looked a lot easier than I thought. I'm teasing. All right, here'd be my advice. Okay, I don't know how comedians start nowadays, right? But what I would suggest is just start. And once you start, you can't really stop, no matter what happens, no matter how bad it gets, no matter what people say. You know what I mean? Because comedy is weird like that. You know why I hate watching other comedians do comedy? Not because I hate other comedians, but because I love comedy so much. It's like watching somebody else fuck your girl. And I say, fuck her better than that. Yes, you on the aisle up there, the lady with the long, yes, you standing up, I see you. My favorite book of all time, The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass. That guy with the baseball hat.
Marry, fuck, kill, Micheal, Rihanna, Oprah.
Wait, who's Micheal? Oh, Obama. Well, sir, you're putting me in quite a pickle. I can't say I'll fuck Michelle Obama. That's insane. Well, I guess I mean, because I wouldn't kill any of those women. But I'd fuck all three of them. The gentleman in the blue Oxford standing up.
Tell us a story with Charlie Murphy.
Tell a story about Charlie Murphy?
Or your favorite.
Boy, there's so many good Charlie Murphys. You know, the thing with Charlie Murphy is he used to just make us laugh all the time. And I used to ask him about all the old Hollywood shit I was curious about. Like when they used to accuse Michael Jackson, I remember asking once, I go, Charlie, do you think Michael Jackson actually did those things? And he said, let me ask you a question, Dave. He said, say it is illegal to fuck women. How long are you staying out of jail? So God bless Charlie Murphy wherever you are. Charlie, I love you.
Who do you think is going to win the 2020 election?
All right, I'm going to put a pin in this, but I'll tell you right now, fella, I don't know, but I think Trump has a better shot than a lot of people would like to think. I'm just saying, it all depends on how the left talks. The way we're talking is not going to win the fucking ball game. Donald Trump's over there on the right, grabbing handfuls of pussy. Joe Biden can't even smell hair over here. Fuck this time. All right, man, go ahead.
Thank you so much for this show. And
How old are you?
25.
25? Whew. Boy, don't let R. Kelly see you. He's gonna pee on you by accident. Oh, my bad. I thought she was 15. Yuck. I'm totally joking. I'm sorry.
My question is there anything you've learned from another comedian that you feel like will stay with you for life?
I tell you what, miss, that's a good question. Yes, is the short answer. A longer version of it is this. I was raised by comedians. I started doing stand-up when I was 14. The other day, I went to a comedian's funeral, and I realized as we was putting this motherfucker in the ground that these people are at least as influential to me as my family. I rock with these niggas till the wheel falls off. We fight and we fuss and we are jealous of each other and we get mad at each other, but my life wouldn't have been what it was without each and every one of them, and I consider them my family. That's yours. My favorite club in America is a club in San Francisco called the Punchline. It's a very small room. It's a 200-seat room. And I was working out the material that was going to be the show tonight. I still hadn't figured out exactly how to say what I wanted to say, but I was doing pretty good. And I was doing some Me Too jokes. And a woman stood up from the audience and she was crying. Clearly, it was a white woman. She says to me, you can't say that. It's a 200-seat room, it's a very small room. I'm like, what the fuck are you, like, miss, are you okay? What are you doing? She says, you can't say that. I said, yes, I can, it's my show. I'll say whatever the fuck I want. I was like, ooh, like this. And then she gets up from the table and she starts making a big, like, show, just pushing through the aisles and all this stuff. And there's like a curtain right before the front door. And she gets to the curtain and she's crying. It's fucking crazy. She says, I'm sorry I was raped. It's a fucking comedy club. It's like loud farting getting out of an elevator. Nothing funny can happen in here. Now I'm trapped in a room with this woman's fucking stink. And I say, miss, it is not your fault that you were raped, but it's not mine either. Ta-ta, bitch, like this.
Solomon, black man, election manager, Ambazonian with the vote. Brother, election don't go. Yes, as with the vote, he go. For true, they say they will be now there we go. By election to heaven, all my with the vote, many don't we vote. For the sake of the gospel, brother, we go, we suffer, we go. enemies, they will shame. Look, you don't lost the vote, you. Say, I don't win the vote. Yes. Now God don't give me the photo, brother. My enemies, they will shame. Look, you don't lost the vote, you. Say, I don't win the vote. Yes. Now God don't give me the photo, brother. My enemies, they will shame. High five to the president of Ambazonia, Micheal, to the general on the ground floor. High five, glorify all your faithfulness. From north to south, the Ambazonia population. I say high five. You have been before. I welcome you all, Ambazonia. God bless you.
Storms out. Now the room is very uncomfortable, but I managed to get the crowd back. But I'm like, a little traumatized. Same show. There's a trans woman sitting in the audience. This is a true story. This is like a few weeks ago. I did 6 shows that weekend. This trans woman came to 4 of them. Calls herself Daphne. Man, this chick Daphne was in there cracking the fuck up at everything I said about everybody. It was amazing. She was laughing, and it was fun to watch her laugh. You could tell she was letting go of something that was heavy, and she'd throw her head back, and she'd smile with all her teeth. She was having a great time. And the more fun she had, I felt bad, because I knew I had some trans jokes to unload. And I thought to myself, maybe I shouldn't say these jokes because I don't want to, fuck her evening up. She's having so much fun. But then I thought to myself, well, if I can't say it in front of her, should I say this shit at all? So I let her rip. To my surprise, Daphne laughed harder at the trans jokes than anybody in the room. In fact, everybody in the room would look at her to make sure it was okay. And I got off stage, I was in the dressing room, I was like, man, this is a fucking weird show. I'm sitting in the dressing room by myself just trying to figure out, what the fuck just happened out there? Why is it that this one woman can't take any of these jokes and Daphne can take all of these jokes? So weird. And then I realized, Daphne used to be a man. So now I go out of the dressing room and you can see all the staff was there cleaning the club up. The audience had gone. And sitting at the bar by herself was Daphne. And she's like, hey, Dave, come join me for a drink. And I don't want her to think that I'm transphobic or nothing. So I'm like, fuck, I guess I could have at least a drink. And we get some tequila and we're sitting there. And she was fucking cool. Turns out that Daphne, she wants to be a comedian. She was asking me for advice, and I told her advice and all that shit. And then she says to me, she says, boy, you sure do get a bad rap for your trans jokes. I said, Daphne, thank you, but you don't have to say that. I hope I didn't offend you. She goes, no. She said, in fact, I read about you in the New York Times. I said, you did? She said, yeah. She said, I thought it was interesting that they blamed you for R. Kelly. They said you normalized him for telling jokes about him. I go, yeah, they said that. She goes, I wonder why they never said that you normalized transgenders by telling jokes about us. And I'd never thought about that. It never occurred to me. And we started making out. And then, I reached up just to see what it felt like. I was like, what? And it felt like pussy, didn't it? It was just like, go ahead, ask me a question.
What the fuck you gonna do if Trump get reelected?
What am I going to do if Trump gets reelected? Probably get a significant tax break. Hey, you want to know why I don't even talk about Trump in my show? Because that motherfucker is not the hokey pokey. He is not what it's all about. There's millions of people that put him in power, and the ideas that he puts forth are not his own. He's singing poor white people's greatest hits. So why the fuck would I worry about him and not the other millions? Really, you know who I'm going to vote for next time if things keep going the way it's going is that gay dude. No, Mike Pence. Now, this is the same club, the Punchline. This is 15 years ago, and I had just gotten back from my infamous South Africa trip. And I came to the Punchline just to cheer myself up. It's a safe place where I could tell some jokes. And I find out that this comedian I know, Chris Tucker, who's in all those Rush Hour movies, I find out that Chris is in San Francisco, too, at some charity event. So I call him, I'm like, yo, I just saw you at some charity event. I said, I'm doing a show at the Punchline. Why don't you come by the club after your event? He's like, cool, Dave. I thought you was dead, nigga. I'll come by. He says, is it okay if I bring some friends? Because, you know, I'm with a lot of people. I go, man, you Chris Tucker. You can bring whoever the fuck you want. And then I show up to the club late that night. I walk into the dressing room, and sitting in the dressing room is Gavin Newsom, who at the time was the mayor of San Francisco, but now he's the governor of California. And sitting next to him was Kamala Harris, who at the time was the DA of San Francisco. Now she's the senator from California that's front-running on the Democratic ticket. And sitting next to her was Al Gore. It's fucking weird. And sitting next to Al Gore was the guys from Google, Sergey, and I don't know how to say these. All right. And it was Chris Tucker and Ben Jealous, who at the time was the president of the NAACP, who was all just at this big charity dinner, and Paul Mooney was drinking scotch. And we all was just in there. And, you know, at first I was a little uncomfortable when we started talking, and we all got along really well. At some point, Kamala Harris she says to me, she goes, you know, a friend of mine is announcing his candidacy for president tomorrow. I went to college with him. I'm like, what? I go, Barack Obama? She goes, you've heard of him? I'm like, yo, I just read about this dude. And she goes, yo, yeah, blah, 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 we talking. She goes, you know what? She says, let's call him on the phone. I said, what the fuck? And she picks the phone up and she dials, and she's listening like this. And she goes, this is voicemail. And she gives me the phone, she goes, leave him a message. You know, I didn't know what to say. I just said what you say to any black dude that's running for president. You know, stay low, running a zigzag pattern, this kind of shit. And then the last thing I say is, you know what? I said, sir, I really do believe you can do this. Like, man, I'm wishing you luck. Now, next day I wake up and go for coffee at a place called the Embarcadero. It's like an eatery by the sea in San Francisco. And I'm walking to the coffee shop, and there's a police line, and I can't cross the tape. But then I figure, fuck it, I'm Dave Chappelle, so I go into the thing like this. And the police yoke me. These motherfuckers, like, tackle me immediately. And I see over the police's shoulder Gavin Newsom. I couldn't remember his name, but I remember the night before I had kept teasing him and saying he looked like Christian Bale, the guy from the Batman movies. So I see him and I can't remember the name, so I'm just like, Batman, help. And he stops, he's like, Dave? And then the police see that the mayor knows me, so they all like, oh, sorry about that. And he's like, hey, back up, everybody. And he just picks me up. He's like, I'm really sorry about that. I'm like, I'm fine, don't worry about it. And he's like, He's like, listen, I'm here with Prince. Would you like to meet him? I'm like, I know Prince. That's my nigga. And we go around the corner, and it was Prince Charles, the Prince of England. I didn't know the protocol of meeting royalty and not supposed to touch him. I dapped him up like a nigga. My nigga. Ah! Hugging him and shit like this, dapping him up. And that nigga was cool, too. I was like, that's really fucking weird. And then I was just out there in the upside down, not having no TV show, trying to figure life out. And the election was going on in the background. And this guy, Barack Obama, was picking up steam. This motherfucker was killing it. And I had a chance to go to the last debate on the Democratic ticket. And I went. It's me and Chris Tucker sitting in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's the last three candidates. It was Barack Obama, John Edwards, and Hillary Clinton. Now, Obama's a lot taller than Edwards and Clinton, and he had the center podium. And at one point, they're all on stage, and they start fussing, and Obama goes, look, none of us are perfect, like this. And his hands was like this, and there was light shining behind his head, and the other two candidates was looking up at the nigga, and I was sitting in the audience like, this nigga looks like Jesus. And I realized in that moment that I was looking at the next president of the United States. I was certain of it. I couldn't explain it, but I knew what I was seeing. And I got really excited. And I'm not that kind of guy. I said, I gotta meet this motherfucker. So I stayed. They were all on stage doing interviews, and I just waited. I was waiting and waiting, and then John Edwards was done with his interviews first, because everybody knew he wasn't gonna win. And I see John Edwards, and I said, hey, Senator Edwards, I just want to say hi. And that motherfucker looked at me like, I'm like, fuck you, nigga, you gonna lose anyway. And then he left, and then Hillary Clinton just walked by me in one of them Steve Harvey suits. But Obama was taking forever. Everybody wanted to talk to him. When I knew the media saw exactly what I saw, there was no question about it. That was the guy. I waited and I waited, and finally, must have been over an hour and a half, he finishes his last interview. He's like, well, thank you very much. Good talking to you. And he turns around, and we make eye contact. He sees me, and when he sees me, he looks over, he goes, Dave Chappelle. And Obama did me the same way I did Prince Charles. He dapped me up, and he like bro hugged me, and he pulled me in, and I'll never forget this. He said in my ear, I got your message. Weinstein's probably the first person that I ever looked at a photograph of and was like, yeah, he rapes. I'm not sure this motherfucker has a choice. Not a handsome man. A lot of meat and extra skin on his face. Yeah, he's ugly. You know the sad part is, he's done so well in life, he probably doesn't know he's ugly. You know, when you're good looking, everybody will tell you, oh, you look wonderful, you're so great looking. But when you're ugly, you gotta figure that shit out for yourself. It's a lot of putting clues together through the years. Why am I not getting in the club? I got all the right shit on. Because if it was Brad Pitt doing that shit, he wouldn't have heard a peep. The girl would just come back down like, I got the part. Yeah. And yet, it is important that I acknowledge, ladies, you are absolutely right. There you go. They gotta all be mindful of that, guys, because this could happen to any of us. It could happen to me. I can see that. I see myself showing up. Hi, I'm here for my 3 a.m. with Mr. Weinstein. Hey, Harvey, I got your text. I'm here to talk about the script. Seems like it's gonna be hard to read in candlelight, but I guess I could try. Sound like a fucking nightmare. Could you imagine that shit? Could you imagine if you was in a business meeting and a motherfucker pulled their dick out in the middle of the meeting? I'd be like, yo, my man, this is the most unprofessional shit I've ever seen in all my days. Just let me finish, Dave Chappelle. I'll put you in all 3 Lord of the Rings. Hurry up, nigga. I have other meetings, you know. I have a 4:30 a.m. at Brett Ratner's house. And, I believe it's wardrobe fitting.